Good morning and welcome to Daily Red Devil. I hope everyone is doing well today. Lots and lots to discuss on this morning's show. But before we get into that, please do me a small favor. Make sure to subscribe to the video if you are new. I'm trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. So go and do that right now. And be sure to like the video as well. Let's try and get 500 likes on this episode. On the show today, we will be talking about Chelsea attempting to sign Garnacho. We'll be talking about United going in for a Dortmund WONDERKID. We'll also be reacting to the news that apparently AC Milan are no longer trying to sign Marcus Rashford. Where will Marcus Rashford end up? Lots and lots of other stuff to get into as well. But before we do all of that, I have a bit of news to bring you. I just want to firstly apologise for the lack of videos over the last couple of days. I hoped I could do some videos, but it just wasn't possible because on Thursday, me and my partner welcomed our first child into this world. So I do apologise for the lack of videos. Obviously, it is a bit of a mad time at the moment. Probably had about 3 hours sleep last night, I think. So yeah, I am going to still be doing the channel. I'm not going to stop doing the channel, just to be very, very clear. But over the next couple of weeks, I'm still going to try and do at least one video a day, which is what I was doing before anyway. But yeah, if I ever come on and I seem a bit tired or I seem a bit down or whatever, it's not, I'm okay, I'm good. It's just all part of the process, isn't it? So obviously on the Thursday, I was in the hospital. So I watched the football on my phone when the baby was asleep. But obviously I couldn't do a match reaction in the hospital, really, could I? But so yeah, I mean, we could start off talking off by the match on Thursday because obviously we haven't spoke since then. So let's do that. But yeah, that was why I wasn't here since Thursday. The baby's back home though. My partner is she's doing really well. So yeah, it's really good. Really, really happy times. Yeah. So that's my news. But yeah, let's go back to Manchester United though. We can come back to this again later on or in another video if people have any questions. Or I did actually as well yesterday. I've got him. It's a boy. I've got him a full Manchester United baby kit. I know I shouldn't have. I know we shouldn't be buying stuff from the Glazers, but I couldn't resist. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm not going to buy any shirts for myself, but I got an email from Manchester United saying 50% off all Manchester United shirts. They're clearly trying to raise some money. And I went on there and I saw you could get a full baby Manchester United top and shorts. I think it was about £15, English pounds, down from about £30. And I couldn't resist. So maybe there'll be a picture up on the channel at some point in the future of our little boy wearing his full Manchester United kit. I can see someone else in the chat asking if I passed my driving test as well. Yes, I did pass my driving test. It's been a pretty stressful few months just because I've been trying to get loads of stuff in order, ready for a baby to come. So obviously if I have been a little bit distant, if I have been doing less videos and stuff, I do apologise for that. Yeah, I wanted to kind of wait until the baby was here and the baby was well and everything was okay before I kind of told the world, if that makes sense. I'm quite a pessimistic person, so I didn't really want to shout about it. And then, I don't know, obviously, yeah, that's just how my brain works. I always think negatively, but anyway. So thank you very much for bearing with me over this time. I do really, really appreciate it. I know I've been less active than usual, but obviously now you know why I've been less active. So I'm going to 100% still be doing one video a day. Somebody in the chat says, I think you should name the baby Ahmad. Well, I'm not going to lie, right? I did try and suggest the name Cobby, but it didn't pass. I suggested it about 6 months ago. I said to my partner, I said, oh, what about Cobby? What do you think about that? But she wasn't into it. I didn't tell her what the relevance was of it. I said, oh, I quite like this name, Cobby. What do you think of that? And I was telling her all the famous people who are called Cobby and what a powerful name it is. But yeah, anyway, the baby's name is Sullivan, which is an Irish name, which means dark-eyed one. But for short, you could call him Sully. So full name Sullivan, nickname is Sully, which is spelled Sullivan is spelled Sullivan, and the nickname is Sully, which is Sully. So yeah, it's an Irish name because we've both got Irish roots, which means, as I said, dark-eyed one. But anyway, I'll come back to this again on a later video. If you want to ask any questions, obviously feel free to do that. But let's jump into Manchester United talk now, shall we? So let's start off by talking about Chelsea and Garnacho. Because obviously I've kind of been catching up on all of the news this morning. I was still kind of keeping up to date whilst I was in the hospital, but obviously it's, a crazy time, crazy experience. So my focus was kind of on that. Although, as I said, I did manage to watch the game on my phone in the hospital whilst the baby was asleep. So, but you can imagine my feeling on Thursday, right? You've just had this incredible day where you've seen life come into the world. And then later that evening, you're watching Manchester United get battered by Southampton. Obviously, we turned it round in the end, but it was a bit of a downer on the moment. Luckily, the baby was asleep, so I wasn't really missing anything. He was just sleeping, so it was fine. It wasn't like I was choosing to watch Manchester United get outplayed by Southampton over spending time with the newborn baby. But anyway, let's talk about Garnacho then, shall we? So obviously, as we know at the moment, Napoli are deep in negotiations with Manchester United over a deal for Garnacho, effectively. Obviously, Kvaratskhelia has now moved to PSG. Manchester United reportedly have already rejected a bid of around £40 million from PSG, which I think is definitely too low. £40 million is not going to get us very far. Even if it's straight profit, I wouldn't sell him for £40 million. I think that's a joke, to be honest. For me personally, the absolute bare minimum would have to be £50 million plus substantial add-ons. I'm talking like £20 million worth of add-ons and easily achievable add-ons. I'm not, not like Ballon d'Or clauses, like, I don't know, easily achievable add-ons, taking the total package to about 70. I'd be happy with that. 50 up front, 20 million in easily achievable add-ons. Do I think we'll get there? We'll see. I think there's a strong chance. There are stories coming out this morning suggesting that apparently Garnacho has agreed personal terms, or his agent has agreed personal terms with Napoli. The thing you have to remember as well with this situation, which could actually kick us in the teeth a little bit, is that Garnacho's not actually paid that much by Manchester United at the moment. Obviously, he got a new contract. I think it was 2 years ago now, right? He got a contract 2 years ago when he just broke into the first team, and he got put on 50 grand a week, which at the time was a lot of money for him because he'd only played like a couple of first team games. But now, when you think 50 grand a week for somebody who plays a lot in the first team, it's not actually very much, really, is it? When you think about it, in the grand scheme of things. When you see that Omar Mamouche has just moved to Man City and he's going to be paid 300 grand a week by Man City. Now, I'm not saying that Garnacho is as good as Omar Mamouche. They're two completely different profile players. But the point I'm making is Garnacho's playing for Manchester United in the Premier League. He's a first team player, and he's only on 50 grand a week. Joshua Zirkzee is on over 100. Rasmus is on over 100. Lenny Yoro's on, I think, about 120. So the point I'm trying to make here is there are other players who play the same amount of game time as Garnacho who are earning at least double what he's earning. So I'm not by any means saying that he's trying to force a move, by the way. I'm not suggesting that. I'm just suggesting that from Garnacho's perspective and from the perspective of his agents, if at the moment he's only earning 50 grand a week, I know I say only, 50 grand a week is a hell of a lot of money to me or you, but in football terms, it's not that much. Especially when, he looks around him and he sees Lenny Yoro on 120. He sees Anthony on 200 grand a week. Remember that. Anthony, who literally barely plays, is on 200 grand a week. Now, the point I'm making here, which has got a bit long-winded, is obviously Napoli could easily increase his wages. I think Napoli's highest paid player at the moment is Lukaku, and he's on about 150k a week, right? So, if he was to go there, he could easily get, I reckon, 100 grand a week. McTominay moved to Napoli, didn't he, in the summer, and he's on 105,000 a week. I think he was on about 50 grand a week at Manchester United before he left. So I can see why Garnacho would be tempted by this. He can see that he would literally be taking Kvaratskhelia place. He would start every single game. He'd be playing in a 4-3-3 system, which is exactly the type of system that suits his attributes, and his wage would be doubled. So I don't blame his agent for speaking to Napoli, and I know some people will be like, oh, how dare they? Why are they doing this? It's just business, and at the end of the day, if someone's willing to double your salary, guarantee you first team football, then you probably would consider it, wouldn't you? I think every single person in this chat, if another employer called them up today, a rival employer, and said, we really want you to come and work for us. We'll give you double the money. You'll be a really important part of our team. We'll give you a 5-year contract. I think every single person in this chat would consider it, No matter if you love the company you worked for, I think you would consider it because that's just how the world works. Now, this could go two ways because I think if Garnacho does end up staying, then he's probably going to ask for a new contract, because he'll look at the situation and say, well, I'm happy at Manchester United, but obviously there is genuine interest here from Napoli. There's genuine interest here from Chelsea as well, who Chelsea, remember, would pay way more than 100 grand a week. They'd probably give him 150 grand a week, maybe more, because obviously Chelsea's wage bill is way bigger than Napoli's. So it's a bit of a difficult one here, because I know there's this divide, as there always is in the Manchester United fan base, where you've got some people who are like, it's a disgrace if we sell Garnacho, but then they're not really discussing the other side of it, where maybe the player does want to leave, or maybe the player is at least considering his options. I personally, at the moment, I don't think any player is unsellable at Manchester United. I think obviously Kobbie Mainoo's maybe the exception. I think Ahmad as well is probably an exception. I mean, still, if someone offered us 200 million for Ahmad, you'd have to consider it, wouldn't you? If someone offered us 200 million for Mainoo, you'd have to consider it, because that's just obviously unrealistic. But let's go back to Chelsea then. So this has been quite widely reported now that this is coming out from David Ornstein. He's reporting that apparently Chelsea have now made official inquiries about Alejandro Garnacho. Chelsea are looking at potential signings in the wide area. It says conversations are currently at an early stage, but both 20-year-olds are under consideration by Chelsea. So, I mean, that would be a shame if he went to Chelsea. I think if he goes to Napoli and we get 50, 60 million up front plus add-ons, I could understand the deal, and I don't think it would be that much of a bad decision, you know? But if he goes to Chelsea, I would be pretty disgusted with that, to be honest, because you know he'll go to Chelsea and he'll do well, and in a couple of years' time, we'll be sat here saying, why did we sell him for 50 million to Chelsea? You know, he'll be tearing it up in the Premier League, and we'll be sat there saying he's worth way more than 50 million, you know? Whereas if he goes to Napoli and we get 50 million plus 20 million in add-ons and he does well, I think there still will be that whole kind of thing where it'll be like, well, he's playing in a different league. We're not having to compete against him. Like, we're not really going to be reminded of how good he is. Do you know what I mean? But if he's playing for Chelsea, every single week it's going to be like, why did Man United let Garnacho go? It will be like Cole Palmer and Man City, you know? Everybody says, why did Man City let him go? Why did Man City let him go? Yeah, so let's see what people are saying in the chat this morning. Al says that 50 grand a week is a fair price. The thing is, right, it is a fair price, but as I've said to you many, many times before, like, it's a fair price, but at the same time, you have to compare with the rest of the squad. And when you've got Anthony sat there on 200k a week, like, do you really hold... And do you really think it's Garnacho's fault that he's probably sat there thinking, why am I only earning 50 grand a week and Anthony's on 200 grand a week? Like, and that's the problem we've put ourselves in, you know? So yeah, David Ornstein reporting that apparently Chelsea want to sign Garnacho. In relation to Napoli, there is still a lot of back and forth. How long's left of the window? 12 days? I still think a deal will happen, to be honest. Obviously, Man United don't want to sell him unless the fee is massive. So yeah, the reports coming out from Manchester United is saying that apparently they want £70 million. And I don't think any Man United fan could be particularly disappointed, really, if we sold him for £70 million. I mean, I know you'll be disappointed, but I think it's a fair price in the grand scheme of things. And yeah, it would obviously be a shame to see Garnacho go, don't get me wrong. I just think that if we had a manager who was playing 4-3-3, then I think you would keep Garnacho at all costs. Because I think in a 4-3-3, he has the potential to be world class. I'm just not convinced by him in Ruben Amorim's formation, to be honest. I don't know what you guys think about that, but yeah. If the simple matter for me is this: if we're going to wholeheartedly back Ruben Amorim and he's going to be a project manager for us, like Arteta is at Arsenal, you know, Arteta's been there for 6 years and he's won one trophy in 6 years. I saw a tweet yesterday that said Arteta, since he's been at Arsenal, has been involved in 16 different competitions and has had 16 different opportunities to win trophies, and he's only won one. Now, if we're going to wholeheartedly back Ruben Amorim and say that he's going to be our manager for 5 or 6 years, it's a process, then yeah, I think maybe moving on Garnacho, using the funds, go and buying 3 or 4 players with that money. Obviously, we spoke about this on the show the other day because of how PSR works, because it would be 100% profit on the books, and because of how amortization works. If we say got 60 million now for Garnacho, that would mean that in this calendar year, our PSR report would show £60 million profit for Garnacho, okay? And then we could then use that money to go and buy 3 or 4 players spread across a 5-year contract. Remember we did this example the other day? So say, for example, we wanted to spend £200 million, right? If we wanted to spend £200 million over 5-year contracts, it would mean that we were spending £40 million per season in our PSR books. So in relation to this year, if we got, say, 60 million for Garnacho, we could easily go and spend 200 million in the summer just from the Garnacho money, and we wouldn't be in any trouble with PSR or anything. And we'd still, be okay next year and the year after. And that's why all the big clubs are having to sell their youth players these days. It's a shame. It's just how football is. I don't like it. I would love if we could just keep Garnacho forever, but nobody else in our squad is worth any money, really, is it? Casemiro, we're going to sell for a loss. Maguire, no one's going to buy. Lindelof leaving for free. Johnny Evans leaving for free. Eriksen leaving for free. Do you know what I mean? Like you go through the Manchester United squad, and there isn't anybody in that squad who's worth any money, really. Obviously, there's people like Ahmad, but I think they're probably unsellable considering he just got a new contract. But in relation to the players that people want, like into the names of players that people want out of the club, there isn't really any big team worth much money. Obviously, Rashford's worth some money, maybe 20, 30 million, but at the same time, nobody seems to really want to buy him. So yeah, that's my take on that. Obviously, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Everyone who's just joined the video, if you could do me a small favour and drop a like, that'd be really, really appreciated. Let's try and get to 500 likes on today's video. And if you are watching for the first time today, make sure you subscribe as well. I would really, really appreciate it. Right, let's go into the comments section. Is the video okay? Thank you to all the people saying congratulations as well. I really appreciate it. Let's talk a little bit about this Dortmund option then, shall we? So this story's coming out from literally most journalists this morning. You've got Sky Sports in Germany. David Ornstein has spoken about it, a couple of other people as well. And the headline is that apparently Manchester United have approached Dortmund. Now, I'm going to try and say this guy's name correctly. If anybody knows how to say it. Jamie, I mean, that's easy to say. Gittins, I think that's how you say it. So Jamie Gittins, 20 years of age. He is English. He was born in England. And he currently plays football for Dortmund. And the headline is that apparently Manchester United have made an inquiry to sign former Manchester City player Jamie Gittins. Let's have a little look at him. So he's 20 years of age, very young. He can play as a left winger, a right winger. This season, he has got 16 goals and assists in only 26 games. So he's averaging a goal or an assist every other game, or more even, which is absolutely phenomenal. Chelsea are also interested in him, which is just annoying. But Chelsea apparently are interested in him and Garnacho, which is mental. Transfer fee-wise, it's going to cost a lot of money. 40, 50 million euros is kind of the figure that's being floated in the media today. He has got 3 years left on his current contract. So still quite a long period left on his deal. I don't think he's broken into the England team yet. No, he's in the England under-21s at the moment. So yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see how this one goes. But I think he's definitely a very interesting profile. I think he's definitely somebody who could add to our squad. Is he better than Garnacho? I'm not sure, to be honest. I would say probably not. And he does play in a similar kind of position. I'll be honest, I don't really watch Dortmund that much, so I'm not going to comment massively on him. I've watched some videos. I've read some scout reports, and etc. And, all of the reports and videos I've watched seem to say that he's a very, very talented player. But at the same time, how many players have we signed who've been very, very talented and haven't worked? So there's no guarantee. You think of like Memphis Depay, you think of Anthony, you think of, I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head, but, we've signed a lot of players over the years for big money that haven't worked out. I'm not saying this would happen with this guy. I'm just saying there is still a massive risk. He's moving to a different league, although arguably he did come through the Man City Youth Academy, so he does know English football already. So it's not like he's going from, it's not like he's like Anthony, Brazilian, moving to the Premier League, moving to England, and then it's not working, But yeah, I think he'd be an interesting option. So apparently Manchester United want to sign him. Obviously, there are reports that Dortmund are still trying to sign Marcus Rashford, so maybe there's a way that we can do some sort of deal here. But the problem we have with Rashford is AC Milan have now pulled out of the race to sign Marcus Rashford. Apparently, they're going to go for Kyle Walker. And because of Brexit, it means that clubs in Europe, I think it's just an Italy rule, can only sign a certain amount of English players. And AC Milan want to sign Kyle Walker. So that means they wouldn't be able to sign Marcus Rashford. So it's pretty disappointing. I think the clubs interested in Rashford are dwindling by the day. A week ago, the media were telling us that 15 clubs wanted Rashford. You had AC Milan, you had Barcelona, you had Monaco, you had Arsenal, you had West Ham. Like, there was clubs just being plucked out of thin air. And now, the reality of the matter is, AC Milan are out. Barcelona, I don't think, have the money. Apparently, they're interested, but I don't see how if they can't even, if they're struggling to register their other players. And then the only one that's really seems to be left is Dortmund. But the problem with Dortmund is this. Dortmund are sat 10th in the Bundesliga. So Marcus Rashford isn't going into a particularly good environment, okay? He hasn't played football in over a month, and you're joining a team who are literally sat 10th in the Bundesliga. And the other interesting thing with Dortmund is their manager's really, really not doing very well at the moment. And you're never going to guess who's the number one target to replace the manager. It's Erik ten Hag. And would Erik ten Hag want Marcus Rashford? We heard stories that he wasn't training properly, all of the things that happened under Erik ten Hag with Rashford. So I don't know, it's a bit of a mess, to be honest. And obviously with the window only having about, 12 days left, 13 days left, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to solve this, to be honest. I would not be surprised at all if Rashford is back in the team. But we'll wait and see. Hopefully we manage to get a deal over the line. But, impossible to say at this point. But anyway, I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Thank you very much for joining me. I will be back to doing my videos from now on. As I said, if I'm looking a little bit tired, I think today I've actually done quite well, considering I only had about 3 hours sleep. I feel like I've actually been able to provide quite a good show today. So I hope you have enjoyed it. But yeah, if there's ever a day where I've missed a video or something, I am still going to be doing the channel. I still appreciate the community. I still want to build the channel and obviously continue enjoying speaking to you every morning and every day. But obviously with the news that I shared at the beginning of the show, that obviously me and my partner have welcomed a baby into the world. It's going to be a bit rocky for the next couple of weeks, I think, but that's obviously to be expected, So I am still here. I am okay. If you do want to chat to me, if you want to send me a message, whatever, then you can reach out to me on Twitter. It's just Daily Red Devil. So thank you very much for watching. If anything breaks during today, I will obviously make sure I go live. If not, I'll be live again tomorrow morning, and then obviously we'll do a match reaction for the Brighton game tomorrow. So yeah, have a great Saturday, everybody. Thank you very much for watching, and I will speak to you all maybe later. Hopefully we get some news, some breaking news. If not, I'll speak to you tomorrow morning. Thank you very much. Speak to you all later. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well. Really helps the channel. Go and do that.